O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Usually when we think about theology, we kind of imagine an emergency protocol.
Right, like a panic button.
Exactly. Like humanity messes up, the alarm sounds, and God slides down the pole like some cosmic firefighter rushing in to save the day. But what if God isn't the firefighter, but the original architect?
That is the big question.
Yeah, so today's stack of sources is just a fascinating mix. We're looking at early Christian texts, progressive theology, depth psychology, and even exotheology to figure out this friction between a localized historical Jesus and this infinite cosmic Christ.
And it is a massive friction.
Totally. And just a quick impartiality check for you listening.
Yeah.
Our goal on this deep dive isn't to take a side here. We aren't choosing between Orthodox dogmatism and unitive mysticism. We just want to impartially unpack these concepts so you can see the paradigms at play.
Yeah, because swapping that firefighter for the architect, well, it fundamentally rewrites the entire purpose of the physical universe.
Right. And looking at the sources, it really seems like St. Augustine in the early church is the one who cemented that firefighter framework, the whole fallen redemption model.
Exactly. In his view, the incarnation was strictly a rescue mission. It was entirely necessitated by human sin. So basically, without human failure, there's no divine intervention.
But then you have other early thinkers, right? Like Irenaeus.
Yes, Irenaeus and later Duns Scotus. They argued for the architect model. They proposed that the incarnation was a universal blueprint of love drawn up completely independent of human failure.
So Christ wasn't just plan B to fix a broken world.
Right. Christ was the reason the universe was created in the first place.
Which means the physical world isn't just this fallen backdrop. It's inherently sacred. I mean, there's that stunning quote in our sources from the non-canonical Gospel of Thomas, saying 77.
Oh, the piece of wood.
Yeah, it says, split a piece of wood and I am there. Lift up the stone and you will find me there.
I love that. And that text perfectly aligns with the Eastern concept of non-duality, overcoming Maya or the illusion of separateness.
Because if the divine is literally in the dirt and the wood.
Exactly. The material cosmos isn't separate from the creator. And you see this driving modern eco-theology today, where the destruction of the earth isn't just an environmental issue, but like the active desecration of the divine body itself.
Okay, but I have to push back on the application of that for a second. If the divine is everywhere, in the dirt, in the grass, in us, why do religious institutions gatekeep it so fiercely? The sources bring up critics like Warren B. Smith or Dallas Jenkins, who push back really hard against this kind of universal view.
Well, it really comes down to human psychology. Dogma is essentially a fear response to the vastness of the universe.
Right.
The human ego desperately wants to put infinity in a box.
Because boxes are safe. Exclusive claims give you boundaries.
Right, they provide control. If God is in everything, the ego loses its special protected status. So mystics had to figure out a psychological workaround.
The beginner's mind.
Yes. The sources mention saints like Therese of Lisieux, who basically weaponized the archetype of the divine child.
Wow, weaponizing a child archetype.
Yeah, they adopt a beginner's mind of pure awe and vulnerability to just bypass that rigid, ego-driven adult dogma, because that dogma is really just armor against existential dread.
So you drop the armor.
You have to. You cannot grasp the infinite with a combative, fearful mind. By entering that vulnerable state, mystics experience God directly without needing absolute certainty to feel safe.
But if you're using this psychological hack to grasp an infinite God, you eventually have to actually look up at the night sky. You can't put an infinite architect on one tiny planet. So how does this theology accommodate a universe with billions of galaxies?
This is where we scale up to exotheology and the plurality of worlds. Historically, thinkers realized a limitless God requires a limitless canvas.
Made sense.
Right. So in the 19th century, you had movements embracing cosmic pluralism. Joseph Smith integrated endless planetary creations into Mormonism. And Ellen G. White in Seventh-day Adventism wrote extensively about a universe filled with unfallen worlds.
Right, because if the divine is an infinite architect, That endless creative love has to be everywhere, not just on one flawed Earth.
Exactly. Theological limits are kind of like a quantum wave collapse. It's humanity artificially restricting the infinite possibilities of the divine source.
It's like looking through a keyhole. Dogma insists the entire universe is only what you can see through that tiny hole, whereas this cosmic theology is actually opening the door.
That is exactly the mechanism. And it reveals this clear trajectory in human spiritual development, moving from an exclusive, highly localized view of the divine toward an inclusive cosmic consciousness.
So bringing this back to you, the listener, understanding these frameworks really shows that trajectory. But it leaves you with a pretty wild question.
It really does.
Yeah. If the divine avatar historically adapts to the specific needs of its environment, and the universe is truly infinite, well, how might the Logos manifest to an advanced civilization on a completely alien exoplanet?
That is quite the image.
Right. When you look up at the stars tonight, you really have to wonder what kind of infinite architecture is being built out there in the dark.